Have you ever wondered how the economies of India and Pakistan, two neighboring countries with shared histories, compare? We'll be using GDP as our yardstick, a crucial indicator of economic health. These two nations, entwined by history, present a fascinating study. Let's delve into the numbers and comparisons of the GDP of India and Pakistan. Before we dive into the numbers, it's crucial to understand what GDP is. Gross domestic product, or GDP, is the total value of all goods and services produced by a country in a specific time frame. Picture it as a scoreboard of a country's economic health. It has three components: consumption, investment, and government spending. Consumption refers to what you and I spend on goods and services. Investment is what businesses spend on capital goods. And government spending, well, that's self-explanatory. GDP is significant because it gives us a snapshot of a country's economic performance. A high GDP indicates a strong economy and a potentially higher standard of living, while a low GDP can signal economic distress. It's a bit like a health checkup, but for the economy. Now that we have a grasp of what GDP is, we can better understand the economic comparison between India and Pakistan. India, known for its diverse economy, has seen significant economic growth over the years. This vibrant nation, with its vast population and varied economic sectors, has been a major player on the global economic stage. Let's delve into the numbers a bit. As of the last fiscal year, India's gross domestic product, or GDP, stood at a whopping $3 trillion. That's a staggering figure considering the humble beginnings of the country post-independence. What's even more impressive is that it's not just one sector driving this growth. India's economy is a melting pot of industries, each contributing its share to the nation's GDP. Take the service sector, for instance. This sector, encompassing a wide array of industries from information technology to hospitality, contributes a hefty 55% to India's GDP. It's a testament to the country's technological prowess and booming tourism industry. Then there's the industrial sector, contributing 23% to the GDP. This includes manufacturing, construction, and utilities, reflecting India's growing industrial strength. Let's not forget about agriculture. Despite rapid urbanization, agriculture still forms a significant part of the Indian economy, contributing nearly 16% to the GDP. Millions of Indians still rely on farming for their livelihood, showing the sector's crucial role in the economy. Over the years, India's GDP has seen a consistent upward trajectory. In the last 2 decades alone, India's GDP has quadrupled, a clear indication of the country's economic prowess. This growth hasn't been without its challenges, but India's robust economic policies and initiatives have helped navigate these hurdles, further bolstering its GDP. In a nutshell, India's economy is a dynamic mix of traditional and modern sectors, each playing a pivotal role in driving the country's GDP. The steady increase in GDP over the years is a testament to India's economic resilience and potential for future growth. India's increasing GDP portrays a promising picture of its economic progress. It's a story of determination, hard work, and economic acumen that continues to shape India's economic landscape. Pakistan, on the other hand, has its own unique economic story. Let's delve into the intricacies of Pakistan's gross domestic product, or GDP, shall we? Pakistan's economy, much like many other economies around the world, is a mixed bag of various sectors. The top contributors to the country's GDP can be categorized into 3 broad sectors: agriculture, industry, and services. Agriculture, despite the ongoing modernization, remains a key player in Pakistan's economic tapestry. It contributes a significant chunk to the GDP and employs a vast majority of the country's workforce. From the fertile plains of Punjab to the rugged terrains of Balochistan, agriculture is a lifeline for many in Pakistan. Next, we have the industrial sector. This sector, encompassing manufacturing, mining, and construction, is another vital cog in the wheel of Pakistan's economy. Over the years, despite the challenges, this sector has witnessed a steady growth trajectory. And then there's the burgeoning services sector. This sector, which includes areas like finance, transport, and communication, has been on the rise. As the country embraces the digital age, the services sector is expected to play an increasingly pivotal role in the future. Now let's talk numbers. Over the past 2 decades, Pakistan's GDP has seen its ups and downs, but the overall trend has been one of growth. From a modest GDP of $135 billion in the early 2000s, Pakistan's GDP reached a peak of $314 billion in 2018. But it's not all rosy. The country has faced its fair share of economic challenges. From political instability to natural disasters, various factors have impacted Pakistan's economic growth. Yet, despite these hurdles, the economy has shown resilience and continues to grow. In conclusion, Pakistan's GDP may not match up to that of its larger neighbor, India. However, it's important to remember that each country has its own unique economic journey. Pakistan's GDP, although smaller compared to India, shows the country's resilience and potential for growth. With the understanding of India's and Pakistan's individual economies, we can now delve into a direct comparison. When we look at the gross domestic product, or GDP, of India and Pakistan, we see two economies that, while geographically close, are quite different in scale and structure. India, with its diverse economy and population of over 1 billion, has a much larger GDP than Pakistan, a country with a smaller yet resilient economy, and a population about 1/6 of India's. India's GDP, as of the last recorded year, is approximately 10 times that of Pakistan. But GDP alone doesn't paint the full picture. It's important to delve deeper into factors like growth rate and per capita GDP. The economic growth rate of a country is a significant indicator of its economic health. India has consistently maintained a higher growth rate compared to Pakistan over the past few years. This is largely due to India's thriving sectors like information technology and manufacturing, which contribute significantly to its GDP. However, while India leads in terms of total GDP and growth rate, the story changes when we consider GDP per capita. Despite its smaller economy, Pakistan has a higher GDP per capita than India. This is because India's wealth is spread out over a much larger population, diluting the per capita GDP. Now let's dive into the sectors of the economy. India's economy is more diversified, with substantial contributions from services, industry, and agriculture. The services sector, particularly IT and software services, is a significant contributor to India's GDP. On the other hand, Pakistan's economy leans more towards agriculture and industry, with a smaller contribution from the services sector. Trade also plays a crucial role in shaping a country's GDP. India, with its strategic location and well-established trade routes, has a more diverse trade portfolio, exporting goods and services to various parts of the world. Pakistan's trade, in contrast, is more regionally focused, with a heavy reliance on a few key commodities. In terms of economic challenges, both countries face their own hurdles. India grapples with issues like income inequality and job creation, while Pakistan faces challenges related to political instability and a high dependency on agriculture. In conclusion, while India's GDP is significantly larger than Pakistan's, the comparison reveals nuances that go beyond the headline numbers. For instance, Pakistan's higher per capita GDP and India's diverse economy highlight the unique strengths and challenges each country faces. The comparison of India and Pakistan's GDP offers interesting insights into their economic dynamics. The comparison of India and Pakistan's GDP is not just about numbers, but also about understanding their economic narratives. As we've journeyed through the economic landscapes of India and Pakistan, we've seen that their gross domestic product figures tell a story of growth, challenges, and potential. The GDP, being a measure of economic activity, has provided us with a broad view of the economic health of these two nations. India, with its burgeoning service sector and robust manufacturing industry, has shown impressive growth rates. Its diverse economy, coupled with a large population, has made it one of the world's largest economies. On the other hand, Pakistan, though smaller in terms of economic size, has demonstrated resilience in the face of challenges. Its economy, primarily driven by agriculture and services, also has untapped potential in various sectors. Yet it's important to remember that these GDP figures don't exist in a vacuum. They are influenced by a myriad of factors such as political stability, policy decisions, and international relations, to name a few. In terms of similarities, both India and Pakistan have enormous potential for growth. Both nations have young, dynamic populations that could drive future economic expansion. Moreover, despite their differences, both economies have shown a commitment towards improving infrastructure and investing in human capital, which are critical for sustainable economic growth. In conclusion, the GDP comparison between India and Pakistan is more than a statistical exercise. It's about understanding the economic narratives of these two South Asian nations, appreciating their unique challenges, and acknowledging their growth trajectories. The economies of both countries, while unique in their own ways, continue to evolve and shape the South Asian economic landscape.